Welcome to your astrological natal chart report. This is the Peace Dealer, and I hope you gain the utmost of quality from this report. I'm very overjoyed to know you are a fellow angel. Congratulations, the North Node in Gemini is going to collect us and activate or unlock our true angelic potential. Something that will be very relevant for you as the South Node goes over your Neptune later on this year. I see you are a very, very important angel with Leo rising and Leo moon. You carry the archetype of the royal queen angel. You are Queen Kira, and this is evidenced by your Leo rising. The Leo rising, just like any rising sign, is your title. And when it's in a fixed sign, specifically Leo especially, it marks royalty. And so you are Queen Kira, and you are a queen angel. It's like being the queen bee. This is cool. I know a couple people with this. One is a Gemini lady I've perhaps experienced the most magical experiences with in a short amount of time. Another is Katya Elise Henry. She's totally awesome. We actually did a peace talk. So she also has a Leo moon, Gemini sun, and I'm only using that as an example just to give you a visual of like, other people who carry out the energy. Another individual who I want to reference that you have similar energy to is our president. He is a Leo rising as a Gemini sun, and I'm using him as an example because this specific combo of 11th house Gemini is a representation of how you are here for the people. You are a literal reflection of genuine people's interest. If we take the genuinity of Gemini in the 11th house as a representative for a collective of beings who, as a psychological need, desire truth. You are the people's messenger. And not only that, you're the queen angel with royal quality from the Leo source vibration to harness unlimited potential and so much energetic strength through this creative expression of your being. So to see Jupiter here, Zeus, just makes this even that much more badass, because the King of Gods gives you this larger than life presence in an effort to not only feel as passionately as you do, but to expand forth like luck. Anything you touch, anything you're a part of, it's like you deliberately raise vibrations wherever you go. So, I mean, a lot of people like to hate on Gemini when Gemini is really just misunderstood. The obviously negative potential of Gemini could be, a liar or anyone but genuine. But I don't like to focus on that because it's external factors that will take away from the purity of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. These three zodiac signs are actually not only straight but pure, in that Aries represents 0 to 3, Taurus represents like 3 to 5. Aries represents like infanthood. Taurus represents like 2 to like 3, or 1 to 3, and then Gemini is like 4 to 7 or 3 to 7. So the reason why I say these signs are pure is they're childlike, and it's usually once a child gets raped or once a child gets like abused, that corrupts their behavior. And this is representative of these three signs. It's outside influences, and it's beings that abuse their trust that influence any one of these three signs to eventually be bad people. If they're not, they usually stay really amazing. And I know this from experience, and I'm sure you do too. So it's just something to keep in mind. Any other sign past Leo now has the ability to at will just be evil as fuck. But and I'm sure you know that. But other than that, and I want to emphasize that again, because anything past Virgo is like past adolescence. like Cancer is from 8 to 12. And by the time you get to Libra, that's the 30s when you start to contemplate marriage. So obviously at that level of intellect, you can consciously decide to do evil, as opposed to at the intellect of a 7-year-old at Gemini, where, you know, like you don't really know this type of stuff unless you're influenced. So keep that in mind, because you are an influencer. And being this community leader, you're deliberately here to take the source quality of everything you pick up about yourself and the source of consciousness, and you express the truth to other people. This gives you the vibration of awesome truth, or courageous truth, or source truth. Everything that you say, it's an extension of Aqua Moon. If you think of Morgan Freeman, or if you think about any Aquarius Moon Geminis, the reason why they're very important is because everything that they say, Gemini, comes from a place of knowing, Aqua Moon. Thus, they know everything they say. It's not even up for debate. So it's kind of fascinating how, as Geminis, we're only messengers to tell it. Like, this is what it's like to be a Gemini. We're messengers. Like, we don't deal with opinions. We're very opinionated, especially as a Leo rising. I bet you can be opinionated, but you express it through truth. So it's not up for debate. It's like you can be a messenger for FedEx and you deliver packages to people. This is how people treat Geminis. And so, like, you deliver the package to somebody, and then the person at the door starts arguing with you about what you delivered. And it's like, dude, I just work here. Like, I'm just here to give you the message. If you mad, be mad at the game, not the player. Be mad at the truth, not the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. So that's something to keep in mind, especially because you have Neptune opposite your sun and Saturn square your sun. So the expression of your truth will constantly be criticized your entire life. You're breaking through currently with Neptune and Pisces, and Neptune and Pisces is just this nebulous dark force that is committed to misunderstanding the truth we say, even if they have to lie, make shit up, and twist things. But you're already used to this because you have Neptune opposite your sun. Neptune in Sagittarius adds a very supernatural magic quality to everything you say, so that there could be visuals shown along with it. There's a cause-effect relationship based off of everything you say and do, and what happens not later, but immediately after. I don't even have that because I don't have any Sagittarius. So like having that magic aligns everything you say with the above, if Gemini's lower mind, and also opens up clairvoyance and the ability to show people what you're saying and see visions that aid in how you think. The opposition to Neptune to your sun, though, will mercilessly have people project on you. Anything that you challenge as a part of their thought process is automatically now your fault. Yes, God forbid people think for themselves. It's your fault that you didn't spell it out for them. And it's your fault that you didn't say it in a way that makes them feel comfortable in their own mediocrity. With Saturn here that squares this sun, you want to be very careful about how difficult you can be on yourself, because the free expression of Gemini and Mercury here, which aids on your ability to communicate with a speakerphone, if we can think. The ability to communicate is Gemini, right? Mercury is going to enhance that ability by being able to process information and read it while also communicate it as fast as breathing. So if Aqua Moons know everything they're saying, Leo Moons say everything from the source. Okay, they're getting it straight from the source. It's raw, it's pure. And so this is where that square to your sun can heavily inhibit that freedom of expression because of a need to mercilessly fact check everything. But you must remember that just because something is true doesn't make it real. Okay? It's true that rain is formed from, precipitation from the clouds or whatever. That doesn't mean that it's really raining now. Virgo represents the manifestation of what's true within time and space, the evidence of truth. But the purpose of the difference between Gemini and Virgo is certain things may be true, but it's not until it happens that it's real. So how this may have manifested is by allowing certain opposing forces, habits, doubts within yourself as well to stifle your self-esteem. Saturn in the second makes you a very seriously magical manifester. And I mean, you've already had your return, so you've definitely broken through this, but you just want to be mindful of how hard you can be on your own self-esteem and your own ability to analyze your own self-worth. You're most likely more willing to give yourself not the benefit of the doubt and to just really be hard on yourself. And you want to be mindful not to do that as much, because the more confident you are, the more your second house is charged. The more your second house is charged, the more ability you have to utilize your Saturn. The more you utilize your Saturn, the more it activates your North Node. The more your North Node is activated, the more you fulfill your destiny path. And it's very much so your destiny to manifest an empire of wealth, even if it's in the form of facts that you use to forge your reality. Bearing the royal potency of Leo as a rising sign, second house Virgo can also denote the physical manifestation of material objects, as Virgo is very much so an alchemist that can take material items and combine them to create something new, borrowing from the product and material of Taurus. Taurus is going to be the raw goods and the actual physical manifestation. And seeing that you have Chiron, Mars and Venus here, your creative expression is blended as you denote super sensual pleasures and desires in a way that you're able to, through your body language or through, once again, physical manifestations, paintings. It doesn't have to be limited to that, but definitely does denote your ability to ground a lot of this sensual passion in what you do, creating a very chill vibe. And it's Chiron here that's going to allow you to heal with this. I mean, Mars is exactly on Chiron, and this is definitely going to add a lot to how powerful your touch is. Once again, with that Neptune opposition and even this Chiron in the 10th, you want to be very mindful of jealousy from others, which at this point is really just going to be useless, because it's like shooting a gun in the sky. It's just meant to distract you. I don't even think you care, because it's not that important. But yeah, it's really interesting to see this Taurus energy. I have Venus in Taurus. It makes food like that much better. It enhances our taste buds. If you think that Taurus rules the five senses, so, you know, you're going to be slow to action, but you're going to be methodical. And when you act, you're going to actually see it through. And this gives you a physical strength that anchors itself in your heart. Keep that in mind, because now the actual perception of how you analyze with this strength aims this towards whatever cardinal actions at Capricorn you allow to transform your behavior and really influence your day-to-day routine. People will hit you with all sorts of rhetoric and ideas and fallacies, but it's going to be hard to find someone as intelligent as you. You really can't beat Mercury and Gemini. It's very underestimated, because people only look at the first level of what we say as Geminis. So just like Libra and Aquarius, most of everything we say goes completely over people's heads. And so bearing people's prejudices and stereotypes, they're only going to understand a basic level of what we say, and unless they're really, you know, adept, fully get it. So I mean, just don't necessarily be perturbed. Someone like you who has a lot of oppositions, you know, your Taurus is opposed Uranus, your Gemini is opposed Neptune, your Leo is square Taurus. These are going to denote outside influences that wish to undermine the quality of the truth you express, because they're bitches and they're jealous. And I specifically mean it like that too, because like that's the energy. So, you know, maintaining class above those odds is necessary to a degree. I mean, you don't have any Aries, so you don't have to be savage with it, but it's definitely at this point also going to illustrate the level of power you've transcended to really not really have to deal with these dynamics as you set yourself up more as an authority and public figure with the North Node that will come into Taurus slowly but surely. We do want to emphasize Saturn in astrology is your authority, your authoritative power. And in Virgo, this is an authority of facts. You're an authority when it comes to the physical experience of reality and also real magic. Mutable signs are cool because they have infinite application. So this can apply to literally anything. But if it's physical, you got authority over it. And the reason why this is important is because Saturn hypercharges your ability to analyze. So you take facts really seriously. And without Pisces or any water other than Uranus, you may not lend much room for imagination other than Neptune opposite your sun. Thankfully, Moon in Leo trines that. So this adds a spiritual essence and magic to how strong you can feel passionately, aiding with imagination to really allow you to perceive and see visions that actually are clairvoyant in nature. This is where Jupiter's influence here expands the quality with which you can see, but this is where we want to get supernatural. The Gemini clan, born in the 70s with and 80s with Neptune and Sag, in my opinion, is one of the most magical Geminis, because I almost wish I had that, because this definitely allows you to see everything that you're picking up on the mental realm. And it also gives you the ability to utilize your words as a cause-effect agent for change, especially with Hermes that's on your sun. Think of Mercury on your sun as like the magical speakerphone. So like if you were to say pig, you could honestly see a truck drive through moments later with a pig on it. So there's a way you can kind of like say that like you knew it would happen, or there's a way you can kind of say it where you manifested it. And this is where we get into, you know, the advanced capabilities of this T-square, especially now that we have Saturn trining your Saturn and Neptune squaring your Neptune in Pisces. This T-square with Gemini utilizes visualization in order for you to speak anything in reality. It's Saturn, the governor of material existence itself, that with your communication of what you say makes it real in an effort to match what you've seen. And perhaps it might not manifest exactly like you saw it or said it, but it's manifesting, and that is a superpower. Another one of your superpowers is courage. The courage to be you in a world where people are afraid desperately to express how they really feel because they're safer being fake. Well, you're not fake. You're far from it. We even see that you have your MC in the 9th house in Aries. And so this sets you up to be a teacher of originality and authenticity. You're definitely someone who might even be a bit of an adrenaline junkie. You definitely are very receptive to passion in all its forms and just anything that revs up excitement. This MC here also shows one how to see into the characters of others. And with Pluto here, it's so fascinating though, because I could totally see like with that Neptune opposition, like just people wanting to get your attention to kind of like, I guess, make you feel bad, and like you just don't care. Like you're just so content with your Leo rising. Like if you wanted to, you can do a whole show on your own and be thoroughly entertained and entertain other people. So like you don't understand why some people go out of their way to try and hurt your feelings, because like you don't even care. It's like you're so secure in yourself. That's not to say that you don't have insecurities, but I would say at this point you've definitely, done a lot to grow past that. Anyway, um with Pluto that's in the third house, this in an odd way gives you telepathy, but not in a conventional way. Pluto in the third will scrutinize the attitude of others, and you'll be able to see with X-ray vision the rhetoric and logic that goes into a lot of how people reason and what that makes their character. The trine to your Gemini sun is what will add more intensity to how you direct the words you speak at people. So if you were to talk to me and you were to get to know me, or to see how I operate, you would be able to use words that would touch me very deeply because of that Pluto Libra's ability to hone in on an individual and really, talk to them, making social interactions very intense. But it's even deeper than that, because that Pluto Libra bears the generational lesson to destroy sexism, destroy racism. That's why now that Pluto has been squaring this for y'all, it's been breaking you through, but we're seeing civil rights issues come up again. And it's really all to highlight the impurity of relationships and social interaction, law and justice, which is all that Libra rules. So that's really why all this is happening. This is all finally squaring. It's the last showdown as the system's ending before it goes into Aquarius and we introduce aliens. Yes. In fact, being that Aqua is in your seventh house, this is going to be a very huge chapter for you. You're wrapping up that first 6 houses. And once you move to the 7th house, it's the world stage, my friend. So let's also speak on Uranus, because you're going through a Uranus opposition. As Uranus goes over your 10th, you're getting ready to make more money than you've ever made, to consolidate the work you've already done and set up passive income. And with Uranus and Scorpio, this speaks of a very private sense of claircognizance that really allows you to apply wisdom, to think outside the box, to sense things in ways that haven't been sensed before. And this adds a supernaturally unconventional dynamic to how you express your Taurus energy and ground, because your 5 senses will now be aided by your heart and your soul. Taurus is the body, Leo is the heart, Scorpio is the soul, Aquarius is the mind. And so this T-square that you have aids the mutable T-square in an effort to ground the strength of heart you have in Leo in order to be the mediator between your soul and body. And I love how, of course, your soul is in the 4th, as it should be. This really speaks of an unconventional family life and dynamic that you will always have. You're not going to live the normal family life because you're not meant to live the normal family life. You don't have a 7th house, so you're not going to have like the usual relationship. And the ruler of your relationships is in the 4th house in Scorpio. So really keep that in mind, because if you're trying to employ traditional, first of all, the way that humanity has taught us to be in relationships is utter trash. Like the whole notion of dating, trash. The whole notion of how marriages are kind of ordained, and how, society and culture allows us to kind of like, and you see it in the movies, it's all trash. It's all trash. And you've always known this as well. So the reason why I'm saying that is because you resonate with a truer way. It's a more authentic, unique way that might be weird to other people, but like you're meant to have a cosmic marriage, 7th house Aqua, so or relationship. It's out of this world, literally. And then Uranus, the ruler of that, is in the underworld. So like any attempts to try and follow this very conventional postmodern way of dating, which I mean, you can obviously see people don't even know anymore. People don't even date. People are getting married later because it doesn't work. So any attempt for you to follow that, it's not going to work for you, because you're meant to do something that's advanced. The relationships you have are advanced in nature, because you're not a human. You're a queen angel. And as an angelic being, human logic doesn't even work with you. This is why there's so much as Geminis and air signs that this age of Aquarius is going to allow us to really gain freedom, and so that we can actually operate on a more fair playing field instead of a lot of what this world does, which stunts people like us. There's no schools that can really teach us because we're smarter than a lot of the teachers there. A lot of schooling is really for earth signs, water signs, fire signs, air. I don't want to really set up that air is better than others, but being that we rule intellect, there's a lot that we can gain more of from people who understand us. I'll just say that. Other than that, though, I hope you enjoyed this report. Feel free to ask any questions. Thank you so much for your patience, and you stay blessed as always. And until next time, peace.